$2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Happy Tuesday, guys. Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com. Stoppage Time, Champions League, Europa League edition. A bunch of League 2 matches. A lot still up for grabs to see who makes it into the semifinal stages of each round. We're going to cover 4 games, one from each of the next 2 days in Champions League and a couple games on Thursday's Europa League card. With me to look at these games from Sports Memo, it's Pavlos Laguretos, and from WagerTalk.com, Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan. Kev, I'll bring you in first. How are things going, and how's this week looking for you as far as plays in these 3 competitions?
Yeah, all good, Carmine. Things ticking over nicely right now. We had a winner on Valencia plus a half a goal last night. We've got 2 plays up for tonight and tomorrow in Champions League client plays. And I've circled a potential 5% for Thursday night in Europa Conference League. Just working on that right now. So yeah, all good, my end, and looking forward to breaking down some of these games of the day show.
Awesome, good to hear, man, and good luck on the play if you get it up. Nick Borrman, Scotty Scheffler. I know this is a soccer show, but you released another golf winner in the Masters, 16 or 18 to 1. How are things for you?
Yeah, that was a awesome Masters tournament. I hit almost every bet. I had one miss, which was somebody double bogeyed the very last hole of the tournament to lose that bet. But otherwise, it was damn near perfect Masters, so happy about that. Soccer has been great since the international break ended, which was, about 11 days ago, 22-11. So far since domestic leagues are back in action, plus 33%. So hoping to carry that over into the UEFA competitions this week. I have a 5% set for today, Tuesday. I have a free play up right now for Wednesday, and I will be working on the Thursday card later on today. But very excited to see who's going to qualify from all these games and move on to the semifinals and all these competitions.
Awesome. Good to hear. Keep that run going. Pavlos, my man, the prop king himself. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great. I had a very productive weekend. The bets were actually we would have had more profit if it wasn't for a couple of pushes, but still a great weekend. Yesterday, a couple of half wins in the not very strong day. 4 out of my 5 plays that I gave out on various free shows in the Sports Memo and WagerTalk family were winners, including a draw in that Villarreal match. So it's been going great. I had a cursed March, but April is looking bright. Made profit for clients throughout the weekend, and looking forward to discussing some soccer with you guys. I got a lot of plays loaded right now at my page. I got a couple of plays up for tonight. Champions League Total Blaster, Champions League Side Sweep. Tomorrow I have a Champions League Total Recall and a CONCACAF Champions League Smart Play. And for Thursday I have a Reaper Play. So I still haven't looked at the weekend matches, which there's bound to be some very good value there.
Awesome. Total Recall, one of my favorite movies. I'm much older than all of you guys, so I know the original Total Recall, not the later version of it, which wasn't as good. But and myself, after a slow week, a better weekend, including a 5% winner on the over in the Manchester City Liverpool game. That one lived up to expectation. What a game. That title race is going to go down to the wire. It is going to be a good one. And those 2 teams are going to meet this weekend, I believe, in the FA Cup semifinal. So that should be another good one. I've got a 5% play up for today in Champions League action. And we have that deal on, guys, $99. You get every single UEFA knockout stage play in all three competitions, the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Europa Conference League. Every single play right through to the finals for all three. The final of the Champions League is the last of all three, which takes place on May 28th. So if you head over to your favorite cappers page, you click on the soccer drop-down menu, you'll see UEFA $99 knockout stage package. You get every single play through to the end of the competition. So that is a much better deal. Take advantage of that. Guys, we are going to start with the first of 4 games. This one is being played today. And this one is Real Madrid and Chelsea. Let's have a quick look at the numbers on this one. Madrid plus 145 at home. The draws plus 250. Chelsea plus 175. I'm going to look at this along with Kevin. For my clients out there, you all know I'm pretty happy about that first leg result. We have Real Madrid at 18-1 to win the Champions League. Now, we just need them to get by this round into the semifinals, and then we'll look at some hedge opportunities. We also have them at 33-1 after they lost that first game to PSG in the last knockout stage round. So some good opportunities there. When I look at this, I look at this and right now I have to believe the way Real Madrid are playing. They're one of the best soccer teams in football right now. 24 goals in La Liga, a couple goals in the Super Cup, and 11 goals in Champions League. 37 goals for this guy. He single-handedly beat Chelsea in that first leg, scoring all 3 goals in that 3-1 win. I look at Chelsea, and a 6-0 win on the weekend probably has them feeling confident, but that was away at Southampton. They are not playing Southampton today. They're playing a team that's going to offer a lot more resistance defensively. And if you look at Chelsea, they've only scored 2 or more goals in the knockout stages away once, and that was back in 08-09, beating Liverpool 3-1. I see both teams scoring here, so I'm going to make this an easy one as far as a play. I think a good bet here is I see both teams getting on the score sheet here. So you can take both teams to score, yes, and over 2.5, and you're paying almost even money, minus 105 on both teams to score over 2.5. And that's where I'm going here in a game where this could be a 2-1 game either way. So that's my play here. Kev, over to you.
I really wanted to release Chelsea Plotter goal when this line opened, Carmine. Was monitoring, the line on this game all day yesterday. Seen the line continue to get pounded on the Chelsea side. Chelsea are actually favourites now in this game. I really wanted it to slow down. I got some small action on it personally, but, if this line was Chelsea plus a quarter, I would have a 5% up. Loved it when it opened, but that's obviously not where it is now. So, this line just kept getting higher and higher, basically to where it is now, a full pick. I'm shaded towards Chelsea. I'm kind of backing off that. But I like Chelsea in this spot tonight. As you said, Karim Benzema is back. He's just been on fire, back-to-back hat-tricks now in Europe. As you said as well, he scored 11 goals in this competition. However, those 11 goals have came from just 5.29 expected goals. So, he's just stupidly hot right now. Man's on fire. Someone better, give Denzel a call here. He's stealing his thunder. And, if you compare those XG numbers, to the competition's other top scorer, Robert Lewandowski, he's bagged 12 goals. But those 12 goals have come from almost 10 expected goals. So, that's much more in line than Benzema's numbers. And, it's clear Benzema is outperforming the data by an absolutely huge margin. Now, whether he can continue to do that, highly doubtful. But right now, he's the man in form, across Europe as a whole. On top of that, as good as this midfield for Madrid has been as well, under Casemiro and Modric, Chelsea showed to me in the second half of that game last week, they can be controlled. Showed it last year as well in the semi-final. I thought Chelsea were much better after the break. They did make some adjustments. And I think they can continue that here. Look, Timo Werner comes off a brace, 2 goals, for God's sake. Never thought I'd utter those words last week. He's the man's on fire himself. So, I read a stat earlier for this game that said only one team in 44 Champions League knockout round attempts has managed to overturn a tie after losing the first leg by 2 goals or more at home. Just once in 44 attempts. So, even with the change in the away goals rule for this season, history really is not giving Chelsea much of a chance in this game. But I do think they have a slight chance. We mentioned earlier plus 600 on the, Chelsea to qualify. I'd stick pizza money on that. We saw how good this Chelsea team are at the weekend. I know you're saying about Southampton, but Southampton are a decent team. 6-0, absolute whitewash. I actually think as well, Lukaku could be accused of unbalancing this team a little bit. They're actually playing better without him. You could say, Chelsea is. I'm not just going to overreact to last week, is basically what I'm saying. I think Chelsea are the better team. So, while I'd love that plus a quarter goal, and if it was available, I wouldn't even be talking about this one. I'd be talking about the total and having that up as a 5%. But at a pick and price where it is right now, it's just a lane. But I just don't see Chelsea losing this game. I think it's either a draw or Chelsea get the win.
All right, that's Kevin Dolan of WagerTalk.com. And Kev, before we go on to the next game, I just want to discuss this game just a little bit more. And I've seen the price come down on Chelsea, and you just start to wonder one of two things: is there an overreaction to the weekend contest? And as far as Lukaku he won't be available today. He's still dealing with issues to, I think, his ankle or his Achilles. So he's unavailable, but I don't think he would be part of the starting 11 anyways. And then you look at it and you wonder, is some of the money, because Chelsea are a public team. They are a public team, much like many of the top EPL teams. Man City are always going to get their money. Liverpool are always going to get their money. And to a point, sometimes Man United get their money, even though they're always overvalued in their games, especially for the type of season they're having. So you're wondering if that money is on Chelsea as a reaction to what happened on this weekend, which was still a very good performance. Anytime you score 6 against any team in the Premier League, it is, and they are defending champions as well too. I'm in that uncanny position of last year. These two teams met in the semifinals, and I was cheering for Chelsea, as you and I both had Chelsea at 16-1 to win Champions League, and we were able to cash on. Now that the roles are reversed, and I am on Real Madrid, and the only thing that always comes to me, and I take this from my love of hockey as well too, and I'll be doing Puck Time at the top of the hour with my co-host Andrew McInnes, is they always say one of the worst leads to have in the NHL is a 2-0 lead, or a 2-0 lead, as they say in NHL. But I have to believe one of the worst leads to have in League 2 is a 2-goal lead, because you wonder whether you change your tactics or play the exact same way you did in League 1. Do you think we see any tactical changes from Ancelotti in this team? He's looking to make it into the semifinals for the 8th time as a manager of a club.
I mean, look, Real Madrid know how dangerous 2-goal lead is as well, because, they pulled it out the bag against PSG in the last round. So I don't think Ancelotti will be taking anything for granted here, because, look, we all know Chelsea are a serious outfit, that the defending champions. So even though I gave out that 1 in 44 stat, we know Chelsea aren't that average, team. They're not like Benfica, who have literally no chance of going through. I'm sorry for Portuguese fans out there. Because we know Chelsea could pull this out the bag. Now, whether or not they can do it, I'm not sure. But I don't think it's public money. I do think it's semi-sharp. I'm not just saying that because I like Chelsea here. Because, look, you're not going to get a more public team than Real Madrid. They are the world's public team. So, I just think it's faith in Chelsea and what they did last year, and coming off that 6-0 win at the weekend as well.
All right, we're done with this one. Let's move on to the next one. Another big game. This one goes tomorrow. Atletico and Man City is still a lot to play for. Let's have a look at the odds of this one. Atletico plus 375 at home. The draw is plus 250. Man City minus 125. Nick, I'm going to go to you on this one. Man City, the favorites to win Champions League, but they carried a 1-0 lead into Spain for this one. There's still a lot to play for here. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, if you didn't watch the game, you look at the scoreline, you're going to notice, obviously, Atletico didn't register a single shot in leg one. They lost 1-0, but obviously that was by design. I don't know how many more players Simeone could have asked to play behind the ball in that game. Of course, they received a lot of backlash from fans, and social media ripped them apart, especially Simeone, for choosing to play leg one, park the bus. But I think we would all agree that was probably their best result they could have hoped for in that first leg, is just a 1-0 defeat. So they have a chance here in leg two. They were able to pull this off against Liverpool last year. So, I guess they have history on their side a little bit. I fully expect them to come out in a similar manner, at least to begin this game, because they cannot risk chasing with Man City. So I think they're going to try to be very, very tight again, and hope for some opportunity to present itself. If it doesn't, and we get later into the second half, of course they're going to have to start to take a little risk, but I don't expect that to happen immediately in this game. They just simply can't afford to play an open game with City. At the same time, City don't have a need to push for this game, and I'm pretty sure Pep is thinking one goal is probably enough to see this thing through. So I'm thinking they're going to be coming out very cautious as well. They don't want to make a mistake and gift Atletico a goal to open this game back up, or this tie back up. So I think it's going to be very tight. The first leg was very tight as far as chances go. I think this one's going to be very tight, even though Atletico do have to chase it at some point. I don't think it's going to happen until it's too late. And then at that point, it might still be 0-0, or maybe it's 1-0 either way. But I think under 2.5 goals has a lot of value in this game. I don't see a lot of action going on here. It's not going to be a fun game, I think, to watch necessarily. But I think it's going to be slow. I think it's going to be tight. I think under 2.5 goals is the way to play this one.
All right, Nick Borrman, WagerTalk.com, with his thoughts on Man City, Atletico. Pavlos, I look at this game, and Nick mentioned that game that Atletico played at the Etihad against this Man City team. And not only did they not register a shot on goal, they didn't even register an attempt on goal. You very rarely see that. And I just wonder, it sort of mimics, in a way, what we saw with Real Madrid when they went to Paris and played PSG. They played everyone behind the ball. 3 attempts on goal, 0 shots on goal. They tried to basically get out of that leg one with a draw, a manageable result. It was only, I think, a 94th minute Mbappe goal that eventually gave PSG the win heading back to Spain. But a much better game from Madrid at home. Do we see a much better game from this Madrid at home?
No, not really. I totally agree with Nick. We should be expecting a very tight match. When you look at both coaches, they know how to play these matches. They know that that the result from the first leg is, shouldn't be, City shouldn't be feeling comfortable, and Atletico Madrid, they got the job done. Nick said that what else could they do? Maybe they use 7 defenders and 3 midfielders and no attacker. We should probably be expecting a similar match. Of course, Atletico Madrid over the weekend, they did not look good. They lost on the road to Mallorca. They created just 1 shot on goal. So they had Suarez and Griezmann up front there. So I believe that they were distracted about this match. So I believe that Coach Simeone has what it takes to make this a very tight match, because I think that whoever scores the first goal, then it's probably over. They're going to park the bus. If it's City or Atletico Madrid, they're probably going to park the bus if there's even going to be a goal. So I like the under 1 goal in the Asian line, under 1 goal in the first half at minus 125. I can't see a game where there's going to be 2 goals there. So worst case scenario, that's a push. I also like the draw at halftime at plus 110. Again, in the sense that, both teams will be very careful, especially Atletico Madrid. If they concede, it's probably all over for them. While Manchester City, they'll try to keep them at bay. They can even progress with a draw here. So a goalless draw is pretty much fine with Manchester City. So I believe we'll see very defensive formations. Neither coach is gonna want to, risk the match. Atletico, not very good at home. They haven't won any of the last 6 matches. They have 3 losses and 3 draws. They're gonna try to, slow down the pace as much as possible. Considering a goal would be catastrophic for Atletico Madrid. So they'll try to do anything to to avoid that. And if they can score a goal maybe at the second half and force an overtime, an extra time, well, probably, this is a low scoring match. So I like the under 1 goal in the first half, draw at halftime at plus 110.
All right, Pavlos Laguretos, Sports Memo with his thoughts on Man City and Atletico. Guys, before we head into Thursday's Europa League games, it's Tuesday, so obviously it is $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sportsmemo. $2 Tuesdays is where you can get a featured cappers plays for only $2. These are plays that normally go for $25 and $35 over at WagerTalk. Dave Koken. Dave is absolutely smoking when it comes to MLB, and he has a 5% play. I think this is only his third 5% MLB play in the last 3 years, and you can get that for only $2 over at WagerTalk. Included that play are some great offers, and over at Sports Memo, more baseball plays, and you can get a 3-pack, either each capper separately or all 3 for $5. It is Dr. Chuck, JM Sports, and Mikey Sports. A lot of baseball guys in action now. Baseball finally, first pitch started this past week, and just a lot of action up. So head over to WagerTalk.com and Sports Memo and take advantage of those $2 plays. All right, guys, Europa, there is still a lot to play for in Europa League. And let's have a look at the first game that on the card. Barcelona and Eintracht Frankfurt. Barcelona minus 225 at home. The draw is plus 320. Frankfurt, a juicy plus 700 if you like that price. Leg 1 result in Germany, 1-1. Kevin and I will look at this, and I'm just going to start off and say, listen, Barcelona is playing some of the best football right now in Europe, and you could arguably say, putting, of course, the top 2 teams in the Premier League aside, that they are probably one of the best footballing teams right now. They've gone their last 15 games, 11 wins, 4 draws. They've not lost a game in 90 minutes of regulation, 24 straight games. You got to go back to a group stage game where they lost in Germany to Bayern Munich 3-0 to find them losing a game. And they've got some signature wins. They've beaten Sevilla, Real Madrid, Napoli, Atletico Madrid. So it's not as if they're beating up on the lower half of La Liga teams here. You look at Frankfurt, and this is the prototypical team that has put their domestic league season on hold to try and get far in a competition. They're sitting 9th in Bundesliga right now, and they're just not playing well as a team. 8-6-6 over that same stretch that Barcelona has gone 24 unbeaten in 90 minutes plus, with a couple of those games being extra time games and penalties. I don't see Frankfurt getting a result here. I think this is one of those games where they might play a defensive game, look to get this game into extra time and possibly penalties, look to counter. I think Barcelona had a 2-1 possession number in that first game, and that's bound to get even bigger in this one. I don't see them getting a result. I think Barca breaks through early in this one, and this becomes a somewhat lopsided game. With that in mind, I'm going to go with Barcelona and over 2.5 goals at even money. So at Barcelona and over 2.5 at plus 100 even money. Those are my thoughts on this one. Kev, can you talk me off this bet?
Not really. I mean, it's hard not to look past Barcelona, although I do feel like there's a bit of pie in my face from last week because, I was bigging up this Barcelona team. I was, reeling off all their stats. And like you said, they're the hottest team in Europe right now. And, then they show up like scramble a draw against the 10-man Eintracht Frankfurt team, although it was in the last 10 minutes. But, so they kind of let me down with that one in terms of that opinion. But, it's hard to argue with Barcelona being the team here. They are dealing with, a pretty significant injury crisis right now, though. Fati out, Piqué out, Memphis Depay out, and so on. But, they're such a deep team as well. They've got incredible quality right across the park, so it shouldn't be that much of a concern. And again, while it's not a game, I'm going to be particularly interested in walking to the window here with a Barcelona ticket at this number. I do think they get the job done here on Thursday. They've just, and to me, it's been their excellent defense. They've been excellent defensively at home over recent games. Kept 4 straight clean sheets now heading into this game. They're undefeated at home in league action over 2022 as well. So, pretty strong trends there for Barcelona. And if I had to make a play on this game, it'd either be on the Barcelona to win to nil prop. I like that plus 150 price. I'm not sure if I can see Frankfurt scoring in this one. Or the straight under 3. Again, I don't see this one being a shootout. I think this tie will be fairly close because, as you said, Carmine, Frankfurt aren't coming here to play football. They're coming here to park the bus. So I think it'll be close on Thursday. I think Frankfurt can potentially make a game of it for a while. But, I'm the same as you. I believe Barcelona should have too much quality here, and they're going to get the win and, progress on Thursday.
Sorry, guys, I muted myself there while I coughed, so my apologies there. But when we look at some of the exact scores, and we talk about them every week with some games, and you talk about Frankfurt likely coming not to play football and likely trying to park the bus. Even the exact scores sort of lean to that. You look at Barcelona 2-0 is the lowest price at plus 650. Barcelona 1-0 plus 750 and 3-0 plus 900. You normally don't see a 3-0 at anywhere close to 900 unless it is a team who is a much bigger favorite than a minus 225. Those are usually reserved for teams that are minus 350 and higher on the money line. So you've got some pretty good prices in the exact scores if you think it's a 3-0. I know your thoughts are maybe under 2 goals, and the 2-0 comes into it at plus 650. I may take that 3-0 and put a little money on that one. All right, one other game going on Thursday in Europa League of the 4 that we're going to look at, and that is the Atalanta and Leipzig. Let's have a look at the odds on this one. Atalanta plus 155. The draw is plus 250. Excuse me, and Leipzig is plus 162. 1-1 draw in the first game in Germany. Now we return to Italy for this one. Nick, this has always been one of your favorite teams over the last 2-3 years. The home side, Atalanta. Can they get it done here?
Yeah, Atalanta has been a fun team to watch over the last few years for sure. I wanted to take the over in that first leg badly. Obviously glad I didn't as it finished 1-1, but that thing should have sailed over. I mean, there was nearly 5 expected goals generated in that game. There were chances all over the place. A total of 31 shots between both teams, which was second most of any UEFA game last week. The Bayern game had 1 more shot in at 32. This time, though, I'm definitely going to jump on the over. I mean, this is all or nothing for Atalanta, right? They have no chance of qualifying for Champions League next year in Serie A. So this is their one avenue to get there. So I know they're going to play aggressive. They're going to do whatever they can to get the win. And they're not going to do it with their defense, which, in the all UEFA competitions so far this year, they haven't been able to do that. They've played to some high scoring games. 8 of their 11 games so far have at least 3 goals. In their last 3 games alone, Atalanta has given up 6 goals between Serie A and the Champions League. So, I don't see this thing staying under. I don't see them keeping a clean sheet, which means they're going to have to push for multiple goals. Leipzig, they're sitting better in their table. They're 4th right now. They're probably going to finish in that top 4 spot and qualify. It doesn't mean they're still not going to try to win this game, and they'll push for that win too. But I think there was a lot of chances in that first game. I think it's going to play out very similar. Hopefully this time, they actually convert. But I just think it's going to be open. I think both teams are going to be pushing forward and going for the win, and I think there's going to be chances everywhere. So over 2 3/4 right now, I think presents pretty good value. I'd be surprised if this thing stays under. It might, but I think the chances will be there for this to go over. So over 2 3/4 for me here.
All right, Nick Borrman, WagerTalk.com. Pavlos, you look at this game and you start to wonder if obviously the home side is now looking at their only chances to get into next year's Champions League competition is winning the Europa League. They've tailed off losses in their last 2 league games to Sassuolo and to Napoli. Listen, I watched the Leipzig game on the weekend against Hoffenheim, and they looked pretty sharp. Normally, the weekend game, you don't look as good or you rest some players ahead of a big game like this. But they look pretty sharp, and they're looking pretty good. What do you think at this price? Can they go in and get the win here?
Well, I also watched that match. I actually had the over 3 goals in that match, and I was expecting Hoffenheim to get on the board, but they didn't. They didn't have a single shot on target, which kind of triggered me into, doing some deep research, if you will. And I saw that Leipzig, they actually used 5 center backs in that match. Of course, they did use a 3-4-2-1 formation, but both their wing backs are actually center backs. Halstenberg and Bukiele, they're actually center backs. They just used them there because they probably wanted to give Angelino, some breathing room, because he's probably going to start at the left flank. So I think this was a good, because Leipzig, they saw that Atalanta are kind of struggling up front right now, so they'll try to shut them out. And Atalanta, I didn't like them at all over the weekend. Of course, I had both teams to score and over 2.5 goals in their match against Sassuolo, but I wasn't happy. It was a very sweaty win. They scored the goal at the 93rd minute. They looked kind of tired. Zapata returned to the starting lineup after quite a while. He wasn't very active, and that Sassuolo team really exposed them at the back, and that's been a problem for Atalanta lately, because they're missing Jim City, who is one of their starting center backs, and they've tried doing some experiments there. They used Deron, who is not a center back, at the center back position. Then they used Scalvini, who is a youngster, not so experienced. I don't know who they're going to deploy this week against Leipzig, but I just say that I trust Leipzig's defense more than I do trust Atalanta's defense. So slight lean on the right side for me, slight lean on Red Bull Leipzig, but I genuinely think that the draw here is a very good result, like a very possible result. We saw 3 draws in the 4 Europa League matches, so maybe, just maybe, you can pick the 3 draws that send the match to extra time and put them in a round robin or something. But yeah, I believe that this is a match where I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if there was very few goals here. Again, this is, it's quarterfinals of the Europa League. Anything can happen. And these 2 teams, they use similar formations with 3 center backs, then 4 people in front of them, and then either one play at the 10 position, and then 2 strikers, or 2 creative midfielders and 1 striker. So similar play styles can often lead to high scoring matches, and they can just as easily shut each other out. So I'm going with a draw here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by a goalless draw. It would be kind of surprising, but 1-1 or a 2-2 also look very appealing to me. So I'm going to take the draw here at plus 250.
Okay, that's Pavlos Laguretos of Sports Memo, and Pavlos, yes, you got the last minute goal from the super sub Luis Muriel. He seems to do that a lot of times, and I look at that Atalanta team, and I have to believe they haven't been the same team since the whole thing with Gasperini and Papu Gomez, with Gomez eventually leaving and going to Sevilla. They just haven't been the same team. But we'll see what happens on Thursday. Guys, we're going to head into our best bet segment of the show, and then we're going to close it off. We're going to look at some games that are being played on the weekend, and Pavlos also has one for Thursday's Europa Conference League. But Kev, we'll go to you first. You're going to a Sunday game in the Bundesliga. Tell us what you've got.
I'm going right back to Leipzig, Carmine. I'm going to take a look towards taking Bayer Leverkusen this weekend over in the Bundesliga, who are playing RB Leipzig on Sunday. Talking about Leipzig, there hasn't been a hotter team in Germany or possibly Europe over 2022 than Leipzig, especially since Tedesco took charge as well. Which is half the reason I personally backed them for this season's, Europa League crown. But I think getting a quarter goal head start here on Bayer Leverkusen does present value this weekend. Leipzig have that huge clash, as Pavlos and Nick just talked about, in midweek against Atalanta over in Italy. That ties in an absolute knife edge. So, less than ideal preparation for them ahead of this Sunday's clash against Leverkusen. And Leverkusen simply won't want to give up that third spot to Leipzig either. Only 1 point separating both sides in third and fourth. So I think as hot as Leipzig are, I think Leverkusen are a live dog. There's also a system angle for this play as well. on the outright draws. So, yeah, I like Bayer Leverkusen here this weekend, plus a quarter goal against Leipzig over in the Bundesliga best bet.
All right. Nick, we're going over to you. You're taking us to a Premier League game on Saturday. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, I'm going with the Spurs at home. I mean, they got to be one of the hottest teams going around right now, right? They've won 4 straight games. They look very good. They've scored, I don't want to say shit ton, but a shit ton of goals that stretch. The exact number is, and they've only given up 2 goals during that run while scoring 14. Pretty strong. I think. Listen, I took Arsenal about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, for the top 4 qualification, and they looked like at one point a lock to do that. Now Tottenham has jumped past them, and they look like they have their stranglehold on that spot. So they've been playing very, very good football. Brighton, they snapped a 7-game winless streak at Arsenal, which was certainly a surprise. It was probably a fluke win, though. They scored 2 goals on just 0.6 expected goals while allowing 2.35 to Arsenal. Prior to those 2 goals, they had scored just 1 goal in their 7 games combined prior to that, held scoreless, obviously, in 6 of those. Tottenham have also dominated the head-to-head series, 9 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss in 12 all-time meetings, and a perfect 7-0 at home. So lay the goal with Tottenham here. Worst case, it's probably a push, but I think they can push this thing and win by a couple goals on Saturday.
All right, Nick Borrman. Pavlos, you're taking us to a Europa Conference League game on Thursday. Tell us what the best bet is.
I'm taking you guys to a Europa Conference League match between PAOK and Marseille. PAOK is a Greek team, so trust me, I know what I'm saying. They're now playing at home. The first leg was they lost by 2-1 at Marseille. They conceded 2 early goals. In the first half, they were down by 2-0. They did score at the start of the second half, but then there were a lot of cards, and we usually see a lot of cards when Marseille are playing this season, especially on the road. I mean, at least 3 of their matches this season have been postponed due to players fighting in the pitch. There was one more match with the PSG where there were like 4 red cards and 15 yellow cards. I mean, these players are, under pressure, and when things go wrong, they start fighting. And same goes for PAOK. I mean, I've been watching them over the years. I've even been to several of their home matches. The atmosphere at the Tuba Stadium is just amazing to be at. And when things don't go their way, they do start kicking. So when you look at Marseille's away matches, at Basel, they had 6 yellow cards. At Karabakh, they had 5 yellow cards. At Galatasaray, they had 6 yellow cards. So, and that's been an issue in all their European matches this season. They had over 2.5 cards in all 5 away matches this season, and in 10 of their 11 European matches. And PAOK, they're also very fond of cards. So this is going to be a scalding hot atmosphere at the Tuba Stadium at Greece. And, I wouldn't be surprised if this match didn't even finish. I mean, trust me, this match will have a lot of fouls, a lot of cards, a lot of kicks, a lot of tension. So I'm taking Marseille over 2.5 cards at -138.
All right, Pavlos, with some cards, we'll be looking forward to that one. Guys, from myself, I'm going to go to Serie A on Saturday, the Italian, Italy's top league. I'm going to take Juventus at home. This is Juventus win to 0. So Juventus to win with a clean sheet, and you can get that at even money. 8 straight wins against this Bologna team who are struggling again this season. 8 straight wins at home for Juve. 4 of those were clean sheets against this side. I'm going to look for another one here. They're 5 points up in 4th place on Roma with 6 games left. They can't take any missteps if they want to remain in the top 4 and a Champions League spot. So I'm going to take Juve win to 0 at even money as your show best bet. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Next Tuesday, we'll be back with more games. We'll decide which competitions we do. But for myself, Nick Borrman, Kevin Dolan, and Pavlos Laguretos, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.